Hey there, Gabriel Nicosia here, King of Orion and author of Tilt. I want to talk to y'all about cameras. So, in general, cameras are not actually very effective security devices. There's a few reasons for that. The primary one is the aggressor has the initiative, which means with an adequate and appropriate amount of intelligence, the aggressor can do whatever they want. And security can stop it if they're there, but most often they're not there when it comes to defending a particular camera. Now, in Eve Echoes, and definitely not real life, there are folks who will put cameras, small ships, Slasher 2s primarily. I've seen probe explorers, which talk about a flex. You're sending the wrong message there. As cameras, Slasher 2s. Nobody has caught on that Thrasher 2s and other higher HP value assets will have a longer hang time. But maybe eventually they will. Now they have for particular gates, but they haven't for nullsec. It's sort of a territorial pissing match. Cameras say something about the person using them, or in this case, the organization using them. It's a statement of fear. I have something here that I am afraid you're going to take. I have something here that I am afraid you're going to influence or manipulate, or maybe there are people who frequent here that I am afraid of. Cameras placed around gun ranges and the like tend to be for that reason. In real life, in Eve Echoes, cameras are placed around regions that hold high-value assets. So if you see a system with a camera, look for a player-owned station. And that player-owned station is probably going to be defended. Don't know why, but if you pick on that player-owned station, that's content. Now, if you don't have the means of picking on a player-owned station, whatever they may be, I would argue that anybody has the means to pick on a player-owned station. Just get a stabber with medium cannons, close range ideally. Mark 9s are just fine, and nothing else. Park that puppy at the station and knock. Visit, see if anybody will lend you some sugar. That's how you pick a fight, like in the mid-range. But let's say you're a small ship and you want to pick a fight in the small range. My favorite thing to do with these cameras is to hop into a rifter with a micro warp drive and ride that puppy out to the camera. Why a rifter? Well, they're dirt cheap, but they're small enough and fast enough to kill a probe explorer or a Slasher 2 or any sort of frigate. And the risk to your little rifter is negligible. What you're doing is you're playing a mind game. You're making a statement of your own. You're saying, hey, I see you, and I'm coming to get you. So you slow boat that rifter out to the camera. You can use a micro warp drive. You can use an afterburner. That just changes the amount of time on the mission. And you actually want to go slower to give the enemy more time to aggress. So if this was real life, for example, I might dress up in a dog suit and go post up in front of a flock camera and just hang out and see what happens. The fact that you're wearing a dog suit is conspicuous, but you might, if someone comes to, say, pick you up or bring you in, you could say, hey, I'm just waiting for a costume party. And then, you'd mark down however long that took, how much time it took for aggressors to show up and respond to your mere presence. That's a low intensity threat. Now, a rifter is very much a low intensity threat. A rifter is fast enough to turn, the distance between you and the camera into a brief jog, but slow enough that even without, let's say a prop mod, let's say you threw an inertial stabilizer on there and a damage control unit and I wouldn't use a shield, an armor hardener. So inertial stabilizer, damage control unit, armor hardener on a rifter out to this camera, this target. And they come out and they pop you. You've optimized your little dinky ship for survival. They got some chew toy that's nice to play with. They killed the rifter. They get to laugh at your fit. You get to laugh at their fit. It's great. But that kill mail had a timer on it. So you have it recorded. You have the time that it takes for their response that you can enter into a database, whether that's corporate chat or some sort of organizational chat. You have it recorded. The dog suit is the equivalent to the rifter here. You've got plausible deniability for the flock camera. You've got the ability to make an excuse and get out of there. And you've got the option to set a timer for how long it takes for the reaction time for that camera. You do that with multiple cameras, or in nullsec, for example, 3 would be the minimum. If you did that sort of timing based on 3 cameras, you could triangulate what systems the enemy is coming from, what player-owned stations have all of their toys. And you could attack those targets. You could take the fight to them. And you can show, hey, I know where you are. I know who you are. I know how to burn your house down. In space. Now, for those flock cameras, if I were to be interacting with those, for example, in my dog suit, I would figure out the time it took for someone to come and get me. And I would go just a little bit short of that time. And I would take a giant dump just before the time it would take for whoever reacted, to show up again. And then I would try that with a different flock camera and see what happens. And if they show up again within a certain amount of time and they're like, hey, we've got this belief that you were a person in a dog suit who took a giant dump on our lawn, and so we're coming to take you to court. Well, it's a dog costume. And maybe it's circumstantial, maybe it's some sort of coincidence that you showed up in a dog costume with a black nose and the floppy ears and the whole mask so they couldn't identify you and compare you to the other dogs of war out there or whatever you want to call them. That'd be pretty funny. The court case alone would be, the transcript would be highly entertaining, and the costume itself and the whole toddler dropping trow moment caught on film that they have to bring into court as evidence. And maybe it's you, maybe it's not. Maybe you're just another schmuck in a dog costume going to a costume party with a whole bunch of people to rely on for alibis. I'm just saying, it'd be really funny to attack player-owned stations using these timers, or to initiate content in nullsec. AOA, for example, they will react to you slow-boating to their cameras really easily. Really often, too. They're very protective of their space. Good on them. That's a great corp, a great alliance. And if you wanted to, say, take the fight to AOA, using their cameras against them would be a good start. That's the thing about the panopticon, is the observer is in turn observed. So whatever power is in the middle of the philosophical panopticon, if you had a perfect camera that could see anyone at all times, and like they carried it with them if you want to get paranoid, but if you had a perfect camera that could see everyone at all times, the trouble is the folks who are within that panopticon who are supposed to observe everyone, who are supposed to watch everyone and report up chain to some higher authority, they're also within the prison. They are observing even as they are observed. And like, let's say folks smear feces on the cameras. They got to clean that up. They don't want to clean that up. And folks don't want to be the prisoners forced to smear feces on the cameras. This is the dialectic of the oppressed in action. But within the context of Eve Echoes, it's also the means to destruction of the oppressor. Because how the observed are conversant with the observers says a lot about the state of affairs within an organization. So if I show up with my little Rifter slow boating out to pop that camera, there's a degree of tension that builds in that motion. There are, for example, ambush predators, rattlesnakes. Rattlers love small rats, real skittish and fast-moving prey. Squirrels, they want little itty-bitty things. But they don't want bigger monsters to step on them. They don't want humans to step on them, for example. They'll rattle. They'll make a lot of noise. The closer you get to them, the more noise they'll make. In Eve Echoes, rattlers, rattlesnakes serve a similar purpose. As a battleship by design, they are meant to be traps for upper tier battleships to engage with, for higher tier content to engage with, because they are naturally slow, but they're also fairly agile as battleships. And they can equip whatever they want. They are a play space for specific types of content exploration. There are other ships that have similar bonuses. A lot of prize ships. The Gnosis, for example, is a ship I very much want to explore the purpose of. It seems to be exploration, but if you explore in low sec, you tend to get got. And if you explore in null sec, Godspeed, Pilgrim. There be monsters out there. But exploring in high sec seems to be kosher. They're very constrained, and they've got beautiful nanocores. The Gnosis or the Praxis or the Synesis, all absolutely beautiful designs, gorgeous ships. They're amazing. But I wouldn't use a Gnosis or something pretty to go rough up a camera unless you really wanted to say something to the enemy. Come and get me. Now, for cameras, Rifters will do. Rifters will do. They're a bit of a joke in their own right. And in real life, if you wanted to dress up as a frog or a pig or some other cool animal to send a message, hey, by all means. Just make sure you're sharing the intel with the appropriate channels. Now, if you're a member of Orbi and you're sending Orbi reports out appropriately on Taco Tuesdays as directed in Operation Ignition, then by all means, you send that intel wherever you like and through whatever channels you like. Ideally to me, but ideally not to me either, because I don't want to be associated with whatever you get up to under the flag of Orbi, because everybody in Orbi is a spy. Paranoia, man. It's fun. if you tackle those cameras, make sure you're being safe. Make sure you're flying something expendable. Make sure you're in a position where you enjoy the time that you have with your life. And you're, hey, how's it going? Hey, have a good night.
Thank you.
Make sure you got a lot of loved ones that you reach out to often. And you show you care. Texts, phone calls. The more vectors of communication you employ, the more loved ones you can have. But keep your network tight. Keep your network tight, Orby. And have fun with them cameras, yo. AOA, we're coming for you. I hope y'all have a good night.